While on a work Zoom call using her laptop, my girlfriend forgot to mute her microphone. I overheard her whisper, "I really hope he doesn't propose. How do you politely turn down a guy who pays your rent?" Her coworker replied, "Just marry him, then divorce later." They both laughed. I simply closed my screen. This morning, she woke up to a disconnected card and 47 missed calls, using a disposable phone for obvious reasons. Some details are changed to maintain privacy. I never thought I'd be one of those guys, the ones who are used for financial support while their partners secretly dislike them. Yet, here I am, still trying to understand how 3 years of what I believed was a loving relationship fell apart in just 3 minutes. A bit of background: I, a 34-year-old man, met Amelia, a 31-year-old woman, at a community garden project where I was volunteering through my company's outreach program. She was leading a workshop on urban sustainability, enthusiastic and knowledgeable about her work in marketing for environmental nonprofits. We bonded over shared values and similar music tastes, and within 6 months, we were living together in my apartment. From the start, we had an arrangement that worked for both of us. I earned significantly more as a software developer than she did in the nonprofit sector. While she loved her job, she struggled with student loans and the financial challenges of choosing a purpose-driven career. We agreed that I would cover the rent and most of our living expenses, while she would contribute by handling groceries, her car payment, and building an emergency fund for us both. It seemed fair. She got to pursue meaningful work, and I could support someone I cared for without feeling taken advantage of. For nearly 3 years, this arrangement worked well, or so I thought. We traveled together, hosted dinner parties, and even discussed future plans. I had been saving for an engagement ring, planning to propose on our upcoming trip to Barcelona. The truth came out in the most ordinary way. Last Wednesday, I was working from home in our second bedroom, which I used as my office. Amelia was in the living room on a Zoom call with her marketing team. I had my noise-canceling headphones on, focused on coding, when I realized I needed to ask her something about dinner plans with my parents that weekend. I took off my headphones and was about to call her when I heard her voice, unusually quiet despite being alone in the room. Her team must have been on a break or waiting for someone to join, because she was having what sounded like a side conversation with her coworker Jenna. God, I hope he doesn't propose. How do you politely reject a man who pays your rent? Amelia's tone was relaxed, almost amused. I froze in the hallway, just out of sight of the living room. Jenna laughed and said, "That's awkward. Just marry him, then divorce later. You'd get half his stuff." They both chuckled, and Amelia continued, "I know, right? But seriously, I'm not ready to commit yet. Especially not to Charles. He's kind, but so dull. Like the human version of beige walls." Jenna pointed out, "But those beige walls come with financial security." Amelia replied, "Exactly. That's the only reason I've stuck around this long. My savings have never looked better, and I've almost paid off my student loans. Another year, at most, and I'll have enough saved up to move on. I just need to buy time without a ring on my finger." Jenna asked, "Does he have any clue?" Amelia said, "None. He's completely oblivious. Last week, he talked about starting a family in the next few years, and I just nodded and smiled while mentally calculating how much longer I need to save before I can get my own place. The trick is to give just enough affection to keep him happy without promising anything solid." Someone must have rejoined their main meeting then, because Amelia's voice changed back to a professional tone. "Oh, looks like Marcus is back. Anyway, I'll send over those campaign drafts by the end of the day." I quietly stepped back into my office and closed the door. I felt sick, as if someone had punched me in the gut. 3 years of memories were suddenly taking on new meaning in my mind. The time she changed the subject when I mentioned our future, the way she became more affectionate after I paid for something significant, and how she had never fully integrated me into her friend group, keeping those relationships separate. I sat at my desk, staring at my screen, unable to concentrate on coding or anything else. I didn't confront her, didn't storm out, didn't make a scene. I just sat there, thinking about every dollar I had spent supporting someone who viewed me as nothing more than a financial strategy. When her meeting wrapped up, I acted as if nothing was wrong. We had dinner together, watched a show, and went to bed like any other night. But I didn't sleep. Instead, I devised a plan. The next morning, I woke up early and called my parents to cancel dinner, making an excuse about work. Then, I contacted my bank and credit card companies. I had added Amelia as an authorized user on 2 of my credit cards for emergencies and household expenses. I requested her immediate removal and expedited replacement cards with new numbers for myself. Next, I logged into our utility accounts and changed the payment methods from my credit card to direct debit from my checking account, which she had no access to. I also reached out to my landlord to discuss the lease. Finally, I texted my best friend, Marco, asking if I could stay at his place for a few days. No details, just that I needed space. He immediately agreed. The hardest part was keeping everything normal for the next 2 days. We went through our routines, and I suppressed my feelings, knowing I needed time to sort everything out. She never suspected anything was off, confirming how little she actually noticed my emotional state. On Friday, she mentioned going out with friends after work and that she would be home late. Perfect timing. While she was out, I packed essential items, clothes, important documents, my work equipment, and a few sentimental belongings. I left her access to the apartment. Locking her out would be illegal, but took the emergency credit card she kept in her desk drawer. I left a simple note on the kitchen counter. Amelia, I overheard your conversation with Jenna on Wednesday about your plans to leave once you've saved enough money. I've removed you as an authorized user on my accounts and taken back the emergency card. I'll continue covering the rent until the end of next month to give you time to arrange things, but all other financial support ends today. I deserve better than to be someone's financial plan while they wait for something better to come along. Charles. Then, I drove to Marco's place and turned off my phone. When I turned it back on Sunday morning, I had 47 missed calls from Amelia, 16 voicemails, and 39 text messages, ranging from confused to angry to pleading. Apparently, she tried to use the credit card for a bar tab Friday night and found it declined. Coming home to an empty closet and my notes sent her into a panic. From her messages, I could see how her response evolved. First came confusion. What conversation with Jenna? I don't understand what's happening. Then anger. You're overreacting to something you misheard. This is insane. Followed by damage control. Baby, please call me. There's been a huge misunderstanding. And finally, when none of that worked, the truth with a twist. Okay, fine. You heard something, but it wasn't what you think. I was just venting about proposal pressure. Everyone says things they don't mean sometimes. Her last few messages revealed her true concern, not that she'd lost me, but that she'd lost her financial safety net. I can't afford this place on my own, and you know that. What am I supposed to do? I have $1,726 in my account total. My student loan payment is due next week. You can't just cut me off like this. At least talk to me about a transition plan. This isn't fair. That word stuck with me. What wasn't fair was pretending to love someone while secretly using them. Marco has been amazing throughout this. When I finally shared what happened, he wasn't even surprised. Apparently, he and my other friends had noticed how transactional Amelia's affection seemed but hadn't known how to bring it up. She was always more interested in what you could provide than who you are. He said. The most revealing part came yesterday when I finally answered a call not from Amelia, but from her coworker Jenna. She was horrified about what had happened. I need you to know I never thought she was serious. I thought it was just dark humor between friends. Then she told everyone at work you abandoned her without warning, and I couldn't stay silent. This isn't the first time she's done this. According to Jenna, Amelia had lived with 2 other boyfriends under similar arrangements before me. Each relationship followed the same pattern: find a financially stable partner, create an arrangement where they covered major expenses, save aggressively, then move on when she had enough cushion. One of those exes even worked at the same company briefly, which is how Jenna knew the details. She has a spreadsheet, Jenna told me, with projections of how much she needs to save before she can graduate from the relationship. Your name is literally in a cell next to a dollar amount. That conversation finally helped me feel validated rather than naive. This wasn't about me being boring or beige. It was about Amelia having a calculated approach to relationships that had nothing to do with genuine connection. It's been 10 days now. I've moved back into the apartment after Amelia found a friend's place to stay. I've given her until the end of next month to collect her things as promised. She's tried various tactics to get me to reconsider: apologizing, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, even showing up with lingerie under her coat one night. I didn't let her in. The financial aftermath has been eye-opening. Looking at my accounts, I calculated that I spent around $64,000 supporting Amelia over 3 years: rent, utilities, vacations, meals out, gifts, all while she was saving her income and planning her exit. Her claims of only having $1,726 turned out to be another manipulation. After one particularly heated call, where I refused to reinstate her as an authorized user, she inadvertently revealed that she had a separate savings account I never knew about, containing over $27,000. Some friends have suggested I should feel foolish for being used this way, but I don't. I went into the relationship with honest intentions and lived according to my values. The fact that someone exploited that doesn't make me naive, it makes her calculating. I've already donated the engagement ring to a charity auction. Somehow, watching something that symbolized my manipulated future transform into funds for a good cause feels healing. As for the 47 missed calls that started this saga, they've now grown to over 100, but they're increasingly from unfamiliar numbers as Amelia apparently borrows friends' phones when she realizes I blocked her. I've stopped answering unknown calls altogether. The strangest part of all this is how much lighter I feel despite the heartbreak. There's a unique relief in having your worst suspicions confirmed. No more second-guessing or wondering if you're imagining problems. I don't regret supporting someone I loved. I do regret that it wasn't real for her, but at least I found out before a proposal, before marriage, before kids, before I became legally tied to someone who viewed me as merely a financial stepping stone. If there's a lesson here, perhaps it's about paying attention to the small inconsistencies in how someone treats you versus how they talk about the future. Or maybe it's simpler: if you're going to discuss your secret plans to use and discard someone, make sure you're on mute.